Now, again, just want to update you on the Elliott wave counts. And again, I believe that the alt season began. Let me just change charts here. Alt season officially began April 22nd with the breakout right here of this downward trend line, a bullish falling wedge. And again, now we've seen the bar slip back to blue. The downward trend has been broken. So again, I believe that alt season began on April 22nd with the breakout of this bullish falling wedge. People keep saying that alt season has been canceled. I don't believe that it has, and I believe it's now begun. But here's what I think's going on. Again, I think that Bitcoin and the crypto market, this is the total crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think it had a major correction along with Bitcoin. Again, I think we have an A and a B and a C here. I think you've got a completed correction. I believe that we've had intermediate wave 3 and 4 now complete. I think we're going to get intermediate wave 5, and I think that's going to take us into the summer or fall. Maybe we see Bitcoin peak first, and then we see altcoins peak after. Sometimes they peak together, but we've had other times in 2021 where Bitcoin or altcoins peak just after Bitcoin, regardless whether they peak together or altcoins peak right after. I think we've clearly had a breakout. I think alt season has begun. We still have the 50 below the 200 period moving average, just like on Bitcoin, but we have Bitcoin above the 200 period moving average, altcoins not above there here with market cap, total market cap. Need to see that happen and then eventually get the 50s back above the 200 period. But this is what I think is going on. I think you've completed now an ABC. I think that the bottom is in for altcoins, and we're going to see a rally, overall rally for altcoins, and join Bitcoin. Bitcoin bottomed April 7th, so did altcoins based on the market cap. And again, that's what I think is happening. Again, I told you I thought that we had intermediate wave 4 here completed. I told you I thought we've had a wave 3 and 4, intermediate wave 3 and 4, and I think we're now beginning intermediate wave 5. That could be a 5-leg structure here. Could be beginning, I should say, for a 5-leg structure here for minor wave 1. If we have bottomed here, which I believe that we have at key support at 74, we better not take out 74,000. That's extremely bearish. People saying that, the counter trend's over. They keep saying it as Bitcoin's moved higher. The rally that we were told wasn't supposed to happen. The bears told us it wasn't going to happen. They told us we were going to have a massive crash down here at 74,000, and we bottomed. Same thing with the stock market, and everybody running around, Black Monday is going to happen. Kramer said it, and then everybody echoed it. Everybody's saying, oh, we're going to have a crypto crash on the launch with the reciprocal tariffs. And what happened? Bitcoin bottomed. The stock market bottomed. Again, I told you a bottom was forming, and it happened. Told that wasn't going to happen. We were told this rally wasn't going to happen. Bitcoin's been up 29% now off of the lows. So again, I think that you have a correction, a complex correction now complete. I think you're starting a 5-leg push higher for minor wave 1. The double bottom pattern measures to 103,000. We had the bottom here and the bottom here, and that double bottom pattern break above the mid 88,000 area, around 88,500 or so, approximately. Again, that measures to the 103,000 area. That's a minimum objective target. So again, if we come up here to just over 200 or just over 100,000 or just underneath 100,000, could come close to the 103,000 objective target area. But again, it's likely minor wave 1. You're probably going to get minor wave 2, some kind of pullback. We could push up here to higher levels and back test the breakout point or come towards it and break out, a back test, I should say, of the breakout point of the double bottom pattern. Certainly possible for a wave 2, which would unfold in a 3-leg push down. If we have a 5-leg push up here, we're going to need to see higher highs very, very soon that could test 100,000, just under 100,000 or just over 100,000, maybe 102, 103,000, 101,000, something like that, or just under it, 99,000. 8,000 to complete this 5-leg push higher. But that's what I think is going on. And extremely bullish on Bitcoin. Again, I believed it was bottoming here, down over here, before we got the rally up here, before we got that big surge. The 7th, I got bottoming signals, and then again on the 9th, I got bottoming signals on April 7th and 9th, and I told you again, I thought it was bottoming. 50-week moving averages, which I've talked about, and at Bitcoin's average price. It's a daily chart, and I just zoom out. If I zoom out, you can see what I'm expecting. Again, I think that we have this first minor wave that's under construction right here. I think we'll get a minor wave 2, and again, like I said, maybe a back test of the breakout here. I don't know that we go back to the trend line here. That would be a pretty deep pullback, but I think that, again, it's very, very possible we pull back to the breakout point of the double bottom. Regardless, again, I think you're going to get this 5-leg push higher. That could take us up to the 150,000 area, well above it, 160, 170, 75,000 easily could be reached with Bitcoin, because this has bought Bitcoin more time, this correction. That when Bitcoin reaches my trend line, it's going to be at higher levels. So again, that's a good thing. So I've raised my target levels, but again, a number's not my target, a date's not my target, a trend line's my target whenever we reach that. But by the time we reach it, we can be at much, much higher levels because this correction has taken so long. With Bitcoin, my trend line goes higher in the weekly time frame. I'll show it to you in a moment. About it at great length of detail, but this is what I think is going on. Again, I think you've got your first minor wave carving out here. You'll get some kind of pullback, and then you're going to get waves 3, 4, and 5 after a pullback for wave 2. Complete intermediate wave 5 right here. This is intermediate wave 4, 3, and 4, and then 5. The minor waves, 5 minor waves, and that will complete the cycle top by completing primary wave 5, the whole thing being primary wave 5 right there, and then the cycle top be followed by a massive Bitcoin crash. I'm extremely bullish on Bitcoin right now, very, very bullish, and I believe Bitcoin's going much higher. I believe Bitcoin, as I keep saying, from the 74,000 low, I think it's going to more than double. I think it's going to go above 150,000. But once we get to my target level, I'm going to get very, very bearish. And I think this is going to happen over on into the summer, maybe into the early fall. I think that we could see Bitcoin top maybe, July, August, September, maybe as late as October. But over the next, 3 to 5 months, maybe 6 months, I think Bitcoin's going to get this push higher. But then I think it will top. I think this is the preview of coming attractions, as I've said. As we go higher, and again, we're going to go higher, then we're going to start to get a bigger pullback for wave 2. The bears are going to tell us, okay, here, the bears that told us this rally was never going to happen. They told us we were going to crash at 74,000. I told you we were bottoming at 74,000. We're going to have this massive explosive rally. What happened? We got the massive explosive rally, the rally of hope I've been talking about for the stock market and for Bitcoin. See Bitcoin pull back after probably another push higher, and then the bears are going to tell us, okay, here it comes a crash now. Like they told us back at 75 and 74,000 down there. Again, we'll pull back and then we'll explode higher, and you're going to see a massive short squeeze, bigger than what we've already seen. Bears, will finally throw in the towel when we start surging to much higher levels. And I told you, we had the bottoming signals on Bitcoin, then we saw momentum signals turn, and we went sideways with this consolidation. We started seeing blue bars, and again, marking that the downtrend was over, breaking this downtrend, again, connecting these levels with this high here and this high here. And then if we exclude, that's excluding part of the shadow. If we include it, then this trend line right here that we broke out of, where we tagged this level right here and broke out of that last week. And again, the blue bars before the big surge happened, the bottoming signals back over here. I talked about that at great length and detail. So again, extremely bullish on Bitcoin. My signals remain bullish. Please support the channel with the link directly below that allows me to be able to provide you this information. If you like the charts, you like the indicators, please let me know that by supporting the channel. Today, I don't have any sponsors. I don't want to send you at exchanges. I want to get you all leveraged up and wipe you out. So I just ask that you support the channel, do what you can to help out. Follow the link below. It'll take you to a secured site. You can donate any amount you want or make it a recurring donation. If you do that, I thank you. We also have Ethereum. Again, even Ethereum has turned back to bullish, and it's taken a much, much bigger hit than Bitcoin. We've seen consistent red since the peak over here. Had a little brief moment here in the daily time frame where we had 2 days worth of bullishness, and then it reverted all back to bearish, turning back to bullish. So again, good chance you got a bottom. There's more work to be done with Ethereum. We got to see more positive things happen with Ethereum. It's Ethereum daily chart here. Now here it is on the 4-hour chart. Again, I think that we've completed the intermediate wave 4. I think we get the intermediate wave 5 up here, but I think you're going to have these 5 minor waves, and I think that we're in minor wave 1 right now. I think we're going to go higher, probably bump up to 100,000 or just over 100,000. Again, the objective target, minimum objective target for the double bottom is 103,000. So I think that we're going to go up towards 100,000 or just beyond it, maybe towards the target level 103. Then I think you'll get a pullback and maybe back test, and then again, we're going to get another 5-leg push higher for wave 3. Then we're going to get a wave 4, and then we'll get another 5-leg push higher for 5. And I think that's going to take us up to my trend line, my target level. And again, the longer we take to reach it, the higher Bitcoin goes. This example right here, I have it going up to 170,000 area. If we get there faster, it will be lower. If we see this drag out into the summer months, then we can see this, and again, even higher if it drags out into the early fall. Our chart of Bitcoin here. Again, let me just bring the 4-hour chart up close. Again, you can see what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a 5-leg push higher right here. Let me just mark this here so you can see a 5-leg push higher. And again, maybe we get a big push here, or maybe it's a little bit smaller than that. It's something like that, that we come up to, 99,000 or something, or maybe we overthrow 99,000 and go up on into 101, 102, 103,000, somewhere there. But this is what I think is likely going to be the case. Then I think we can get that bigger pullback, going to be followed by an extended wave 3. So I think a massive move is coming for Bitcoin. It's going to move above 100,000 very soon, eventually clear the January high of 109,000 and move towards at least 105,000, if not higher. Here you can see the big count, okay? And again, in the red count that we have intermediate wave 5 under construction right now. I think we've completed intermediate wave 4. I think Bitcoin has bottomed. I think from primary wave 4 here, I think you have wave 1, wave 2. I think this whole thing is a wave 3, intermediate wave 3, intermediate wave 4, and now intermediate wave 5. And I think that that will take Bitcoin to new highs up to my trend line right here. And again, reach it quickly, 150,000. If we take our time reaching it, 160, 170, 175,000. Easily if we take our time reaching it. So this is what I think is happening, the 5-leg push higher. But again, once we reach that level, this is my target. Again, a date is not my target. A number is not my target. Whenever we reach this trend line, that's my target. We have this beautiful channel. Bitcoin makes beautiful channels. Once we reach that level, I think Bitcoin will begin to collapse and price in the coming recession. I think it will peak in the next several months in the summer or early fall. Peak as soon as July or as late as September or October, depending on when we reach that level. And then when we get up here, Moon Boys and the herd, they're going to be extremely bullish, completely complacent like they were back over here. They get very, very bullish at tops. They get very, very bearish at bottoms. Recently at our bottom, and still right now, the herd been extremely bearish. We'll get up here. The bears will end up throwing in the towel. The herd will get extremely complacent, and then Bitcoin's going to top. And again, the next sell-off that we get once we top out at much, much higher levels. Because again, I think Bitcoin's going to double from 74,000. I think it will more than double. Okay, once we get up there, they're going to be calling for 300,000, 500,000, a million. You've got, I saw crypto's favorite billionaire posting that Bitcoin should be at $10 million. If everybody knew what he knew, Bitcoin would be at $10 million. Look, I think Bitcoin's going to come up here. I think it's going to top, and then I think it's going to price in a recession. Bitcoin's never had a legitimate recession during its existence. We've only had one papered over by the Fed stimulus, given us the inflation we currently have, a massive increase in the money supply. Bitcoin, we've never seen it really pressure with a recession, and stock market moves into a bear market, and it dodged that. 2022, the stock market bounced off the 200-week moving average. So Bitcoin is likely going to wrecking ball taken to it once we see this peak. But again, I remain extremely bullish on Bitcoin. Up here, I'm going to get extremely bearish on Bitcoin. And again, the herd, boom boys, they're going to ride it all the way down. They did in 2021, saying don't believe the FUD. Whales just want your Bitcoin. Don't sell it to them and all this other stuff. And again, I'm bullish on Bitcoin now, but I'm going to sell into the rally up here. And then I think Bitcoin's going to collapse with the stock market, a bear market. With the stock market pricing in the recession, Bitcoin will do the same, only it will get a much bigger sell-off percentage-wise than the stock market. You know, Bitcoin, again, I've shared this with you before. Bitcoin got that major accumulation signal at the bottom here. Again, I think we're going to get this 5-link push higher into the upper channel. Then I think you're going to start seeing distribution like we saw back over here at the peak over here, and the lower high over here. I'm sorry, the higher high in January, pardon me. But here, accumulation signal here, we see points of distribution and accumulation with Bitcoin. Again, it's done a very good job of marking the short-term tops and bottoms. And again, we've got a major bullish signal right here, right now, 3 weeks ago, just over 3 weeks ago there at the April 7th bottom. I am very bullish on Bitcoin. I believe the signal's marked a bottom for Bitcoin. We've seen accumulation big time by institutions, by the whales, the bears. The bears told us that wasn't going to happen, but yet we've gotten a 29% rally, a rally of hope that I told you was going to happen. I told you Bitcoin was bottoming at the 74,000 area. Bears told us we were about to crash. The opposite happened. I remain extremely bullish on Bitcoin. A few days after the bottom, the Bitcoin bottom, I pointed out that we were getting a bullish reversal of conditions with momentum. We saw the bottoming signals. We saw the momentum signals turn back to bullish. Now we've seen the trend signals turn back to bullish. Here in the daily time frame, we had this bullish divergence. You had this one right over here, and then you had this larger one right over here that ended up marking the Bitcoin bottom at 74,000. Remember when everybody was telling us we were going to be having, Black Monday and the stock market was going to crash and Bitcoin was going to crash at 74,000? It bottomed. I told you Bitcoin's got major support at 74,000. I told you if we lose that area, that's extremely bearish and can't get back above it. Bouncing off of it is extremely bullish. I also told you in the weekly time frame, this is Bitcoin futures, again, that coin futures were bouncing off the 200-day in the daily and the 50-week in the weekly. We got the bullish reversal of conditions. Bitcoin was up over 10% last week. It was up over around 10.5%. Still had a red bar, but we got the green cloud. You see the little arrow? And then now we're getting the blue bar. And I told you we've had over the last previous 2 weeks that we started seeing the green bars. And I told you we're going to end up seeing a bullish, a bearish divergence form. This bearish divergence gave us this sell-off with Bitcoin. We'll see a larger one develop that will give us the top. It can happen going on into the summer over the next 3 to 6 months, on into July, August, September, maybe as long as October. Somewhere in the summer or fall, Bitcoin's going to peak. And again, a date for my target. I don't have a number for my target. I have a trend line for my target. And whenever we come into contact with that upper boundary channel line I've talked about, that's where I think Bitcoin will peak. And again, it's likely going to move to at least 150,000 over this summer, if not higher. This correction has bought Bitcoin more time. Everything playing out as expected right here, and I think you're going to see the MACD firm up here and form a massive divergence. I think the awesome oscillator will do the same. We've seen the stochastic bottom out, recycle back up. Again, Bitcoin is eventually going to reach 100,000, eventually move above it, above this 109,000 peak over here, and ultimately move much higher.